I had to check myself, and here's why. For those of you that know, on November 27, 2007, I gave birth to my daughter named Sarah. She lived for Sarah Janaya M for her first last name, and then Medina for her second last name. She passed within an hour of being alive. The hospital staff, including my mother and myself, the NICU nurses, the NICU doctors were there, and myself were the only ones that were able to see her alive. A week later, I got sent home. I woke up from an extremely bad headache where the lights, I kid you not, the lights were making sounds, and it was an eerie sound. I didn't feel well. I didn't feel good. I don't even know how I walked myself into the hospital, to be honest. Regardless, I had asked my mom to drive me to the hospital, and my mother drove me to the hospital. She dropped me off at the hospital. Turns out my blood pressure was somewhere around 210 over 150. I was actively having a stroke. That was the fastest I've seen doctors and everybody run, especially to me. I was actively having a stroke. They had to contain me for about 30, 45 minutes. While they were trying to contain me, the ambulance have arrived. I remember that day like if it was yesterday. It was still snowing because the day that I gave birth to my daughter was one of the worst snow days in Massachusetts back on November 27, 2007. All the streets were closed. The roads were extremely bad, and the hospitals were filled with people. The ambulance had to drive very, very slow. I was on my way back to the Brigham and Women's where I would soon get treatment for my ongoing stroke, my active stroke, I should say, regardless of that. After that happened, a couple of months later, I met somebody, got married. That didn't work out. 12 years later, I was in a bad relationship for that 12 years. 12 years later, that didn't work out. I then healed, became myself, and realized that I never actually truly healed. From when I gave birth to my daughter, Sarah, I never got the closure that I needed. Now, this is why I had to check myself. I am currently now in my second marriage and my last marriage, happily married. This man has never done me wrong, although because of a triggering effect, I thought he did me wrong, and it was my mistake because I healed to the best of my knowledge, to the best of my understanding, to the best of what I could do for all those years. I healed. But I didn't seek the professional help that I needed to heal mentally. Now, don't get me wrong, I never physically touched anybody, nor would I physically touch anybody. I will protect myself, but nor have I physically touched anybody. And this is the story that I'm telling. This is my story, and this is my reason for having to check myself. Now, I had to check myself because instead of trying to heal with a professional, instead of seeking help with regards to actually finally healing from when my daughter passed away, mind you, I thought I had healed. The only thing I did was let time pass. Let time pass was the only thing I had done. I thought I had healed. Therefore, it led me to reaching out to said child's father, or biological father, I should say. You can't really say father. I don't really care. I say mother because I am a mother. I say mother because I made that child. I say mother because that child was in my stomach, I was creating that child in my stomach. I was in love with my child. I still love my child. Therefore, right now I have 3 living kids, but I will forever always say 4 kids. If a parent passes away, my father passed away. If a parent passes away, would you say you never had a father? Would you not claim your father because they passed away? Exactly. Therefore, I would continue to always say that I had 4 kids. I have 4 kids. 3 living, 1 that's deceased, 1 that passed away. If I have a kid again, obviously that would increase the number. But for now, 4 kids. 3 that are living and 1 that is deceased. Anyways, back to my story. I reached out to that person trying to find closure. That was my fault. Nobody owes me anything. Nobody owes me closure. Not only did I try to find closure, I tried to apologize. That didn't go really far because we never had the conversation. But I tried to apologize. The reason why I tried to apologize was not for having that person's child, because that was my child. Regardless if that person would have been there or not, that was still my child. I wanted to apologize in person because all these years, I didn't hate that person, but I thought it was their responsibility to provide me with closure. But in doing so, I went about it the wrong way. I didn't curse nobody out, didn't do anything like that, but I reached out. I tried to find closure. Closure wasn't there, and closure would never be there. There's some things that are still private. I would never show my daughter's picture unless I personally wanted to. I would never show it online or to the internet because that's something that belongs to me. However, I wanted to apologize because I hated this. I didn't really hate the person, not gonna lie, I never hated that person, but I hated that the person never did things XYZ. But it wasn't their responsibility. But this is why I had to check myself. I had to check myself because while having a conversation, while trying to continue conversation, and I would still want to have a friendship, that on my end is still open. But while trying to have a conversation, while doing all this, I realized the one person that has been there for me since I met them, the one person that visited my daughter's tombstone with me, the one person that made me feel as if I hadn't gone through what I had gone through even before I met them, had actually always been here. So while I was looking for closure in the wrong place, I had to check myself because I do have a loving husband and I wouldn't want him doing the same thing that I am doing. However, I would understand. He understands why I did it. He understands why I would still want not a friendship where like, hi, I'm calling you every day or hi, I'm calling you every week or whatnot, but a friendship where I can still see like, hey, I hope life is okay. I hope you're reaching your goals. I hope only the best for you. But some things don't happen that way, and that is A-okay as well. But I had to check myself and I had to apologize to my husband because to me, again, I didn't know my husband when this happened, but to me, and my husband knew that I was going to contact people. I didn't do it behind his back. Actually, one of the conversations that I had that was like 10, 15 minutes long, my husband was standing next to me, supporting me, not listening in because he really doesn't do that, but just being present to support me. But I had to check myself because I took myself to a place that I didn't know was going to hurt because I could only control my reaction. I could only control myself. I can't make somebody be friendly with me. I can't make somebody be my friend. I can't make somebody be in my life. Even though it hurts, even though, and not necessarily the person, I feel like it hurts because I would have wanted to apologize to this person because we were both young. I didn't want them to think that it was something, well, that I know that I think that they know that it wasn't planned, obviously, because we didn't plan this, but it was out of my control. I wanted to apologize that I had held them to such standard when we were both just young. I shouldn't have even held myself to standards. Now, again, there's things that I would want to conversate about. That too much, those are too intimate information. So anyways, yeah, I had to check myself. Have you checked yourself today?